was written between the hours of midnight and 4.
Yeah.
I imagine the recording wasn't as specific, the hours?
No.
Did
Thank
that
goodness.
upset the flow of things?
No, not really. I mean, it was only ever meant to be sort of written between those hours. I think it would have been maybe asking a bit too much from everyone to record it from 12 to 4 as well. But yeah, I mean, well, being in Seattle, it kind of was like...
It probably was.
It would have been like that for us, yeah.
Which song do you think typifies that 12 to 4 feeling the most?
Probably, there's a song called Neon Crimson on the record. I think...
I was going to say that as well.
Yeah, I think that sounds probably the most like those hours feel, you know. I think yes, it sounds sort of very lonely but romantic as well, you know, sort of hopeful. Yeah, I think that song to me feels like the record and feels like the 12 to 4 writing sort of reminds me of how it was when I was doing all that.
A few of you are multi-instrumentalists. Did it take a while for you to define each other's role in the band?
I think we're still finding. I think Sam and I have always, you know, the band kind of began with Sam and I singing together heaps, and, you know, for a long time before the band was even existed.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really play guitar when we first started singing. And then I decided that I wanted to, and Sam thought you should probably play guitar. Yeah. So, yeah, I kind of started playing guitar. The boys have been playing, you know, for ages. They're much more experienced than I am. And then...
But it's sort of funny, like, no one is a natural multi-instrumentalist. Like, it was literally sort of like, here, learn how to play the banjo or learn how to play the keyboard. It's kind of
like, we want to put this into this song. It would sound really good on a banjo. Who can play the banjo? I'll give it a shot. Like, you know, someone sort of just learning and kind of learning as we go. And so...
But we'll take it, multi-instrumentalist, sure. Yeah.
The instrumentation on States was a lot more understated than 12/4. Like on this one, the drums are bigger, the guitars are brighter. Was that an idea right from the start, or was that sort of more Phil X?
I think those ideas were in the demos, like the sort of sounds were in there initially, but I think Phil sort of really brought them to life a little bit more.
I think like, the songs in this album kind of lend themselves more to that. Those kind of drum and guitar sounds, whereas I guess States there was a lot more sort of, you know, I think there was a lot more sort of atmospheric, you know, texture and stuff like that.
Even vocally, like listening to States, I think it sounds very different to this new record, because we used to like double my vocals and Christina's vocals a lot, and it sort of almost hides the intricacies of someone's voice. So for this record, we didn't do that. Like, it was just sort of straight up, this is my voice, it's not double or anything, and same with like all the harmonies and all that. So I think it sounds a lot more natural, but it's a much bigger sound than I think we expected the record to have. Like, I listened to that and I listened to States, and States, the whole record sounds like it's turned down really quietly compared to this one, you know. It's very loud, very present. It
says in the press release that Phil was unhappy with some vocal performances in the studio. What sort of things was he looking for?
We've sort of been talking about this, like, to try and not make Phil sound like he was like this tyrant or something. He was great. He was so good
awesome
to work with.
I think we were kind of saying earlier that, you know, he really pushed us, and I think it was also a different sort of style of working with vocals that we sort of hadn't done before. When we'd worked with Wayne Connolly on the on States and on the EP before that, Young North, it was a little bit more, I think Wayne sort of, you know, more took lead from us as to how we were feeling, or, you know, okay, do you want to do it again? Yep, all right, go and have a couple more takes. Whereas Phil he was a bit more sort of, nah, I'm not feeling this, let's come back to it tomorrow. And sometimes Sam would be like, oh, but I think I can do it, you know, let's just do a couple more takes. And Phil would be like, nah, I'm not feeling it, like, shut it down.
You're not doing it.
So, yeah, I think it was just sort of different style and, you know, a different personality. Like, obviously Wayne and Phil are two very different people, both amazing producers.
And it was almost like we talked about what we wanted for this record, and we did want to get a producer that was going to push us and was perhaps going to be the bad guy a little bit, like we needed him to be. But I didn't personally really think about what that meant, to actually have someone coming up against you and sort of saying like, no, I don't think you're singing it right, and I don't think you're playing that as well as you could be, you know, like it goes against, I suppose, any sort of like ego that you'd have, as big or as little as it is. Like, it still rubs you up the wrong way when someone says that you're not doing something that you feel like you can do. So at the time it was like, oh, this is really hard actually. Like I thought this should be easy, but when we look back on it now, like I know exactly why he was doing that, and it was to sort of push a more honest and sincere performance out of us. And I listen to those songs and I can hear it. Like, I can hear that the way that he got me to sing some of those songs just like completely makes it jump right out, like a lot more than anything that we've sort of done before that. Yeah. What's it gonna take? What's it gonna take?